Again, welcome. Thank you for taking some time to join us. Tonight we have a very exciting speaker, and I'm going to leave it to our board member Debashish to introduce.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to introduce Lynne Levy. She's a former product manager herself, and so she relates very well to the product management community. And she is currently the CEO of the Inspired Leader organization, and she coaches people on leadership, landing a new job, leveling up in their current job, starting their own consultancy or coaching. And she has various programs which she can talk about. I have personally been in part of two of Lynn's programs, one of which is ongoing right now, and I can personally attest to Lynn's brilliance and insights as a coach. Tonight, Lynn will talk about leadership and influence when everything's on fire. As we all know, tech and product are in constant change. There are lots of reorgs, layoffs, mergers, and other turmoil going on. What Lynn will talk about is how to navigate these muddy waters and succeed as a leader and influencer. So, without further ado, take it away, Lynn.
All right. Thank you, Debashish. Hello, rock stars. How is everybody? Throw a number in the chat, 1 through 5. 5 is you're ready to go. One is it's been kind of a long day. Let's do a quick temperature. Temperature of the room. How is everybody? All right, we've got a couple fives. Awesome. All right, so we're going to talk about leadership and basically navigating the insanity we call tech right now. So before we dive in, a couple interesting facts about me. I'm a second generation product manager, which people say, oh my gosh, is that the case? Yes, my dad was a product manager way back when. I'm also president of the Boston Product Management Association. So we like to say we're the second largest product management association in the world, with you folks being the first. So let's get started. Um, so first, please participate. You don't want to listen to me talk for an hour. Okay, this is meant to be interactive, and we are going to use breakout rooms, just as a heads up. Okay. All right, let's talk about leading through chaos. I wish I could say the chaos is going to go away, but it's not. It's essentially the new normal. So what we need to do is navigate it. Navigate it like we're swimming in the ocean in the middle of a hurricane. It just is what it is. And there's a point where we need to say, okay, this is the new reality. How can I thrive in the midst of it? How can I navigate the waters, not burn out, influence, and start to enjoy work again? Because innovating's fun. I mean, all you folks worked really, really hard to be product managers. All right. I'm not even going to say 12 months. In the last 3 months, how many of you have had a roadmap pivot, leadership change, layoffs, uncertainty in your product, or competing priorities? How many of you have had, it's okay if you say all. All is a good answer. Nearly all. Come on, let's see it, gang. Because this is our new reality. Somebody said to me the other day, Lynn, I built a roadmap. I said, great. I assume it changed the next day. Because it is. It just is the reality. All right, so we're going to use Sarah as your alter ego today. So here is her Monday morning. Leadership wants to pivot, the Q4 roadmap. Email from engineering. Sorry, the migration is going to take 3 times longer. There's an emergency meeting and this vague note from her boss. Can we chat? And what happens with Sarah? Her heart races. She's already drafting defensive emails. What do you mean it's 3 times? We already did a scope. She's wondering, oh my gosh, not only should I look for a new job, but should I go work at Starbucks? And she's feeling like she's failing everybody. Who can relate to Sarah? Anybody know Sarah? Yeah, exactly. We all know Sarah really well. So the question is, what separates product managers who crumble? I don't even like to use the word crumble. This stuff happens. And how do you navigate it? So we're going to talk about 3 things today. Probably we'll get through about one and a half of them. Number one, we're going to master what I call your inner game. Understand what the heck is going on with your brain when this is happening. I'm going to walk you through how to influence and then how to protect your career while advocating for yourself. Okay, a little bit of tiny little bit of neuroscience because it's really important to understand what the heck is going on with ourselves and within organizations. My favorite picture of them all. This is fundamental to everything I do as a leadership coach. What I'm going to walk you through, I've walked product managers up to CEOs through. So real quick, this is our brain. Down here, we have the part of our brain that's been hanging out with us since before we were humans. It's the reptile brain. I call it the critter brain. And then the purple part, our prefrontal cortex, that's the human, the logical part of our brain. Now, here's the crazy thing. The reptile and mammalian part of our brain. I mean, it's important. It's what is the job of those 2 parts of the brain? Throw it in the chat. Anybody know what is the primary goal of that part of the brain? Survival. It's to prevent us from dying. That's basically it. Survival to keep us alive. It's fight or flight. Okay. And this is who is in charge. Your lower brain is in charge. It takes every moment and it says, am I in danger or not? And if it believes it's in danger, it takes all of its energy and it goes into fight or flight, right? Running, if you're presented with a lion, right, you're going to run or you're going to hide. You're not going to think about, all right, my roadmap's changing. How do I tell engineering? Your brain says, no, we're not going to let you think about any of that because you're about to die. Now, here's what's interesting. I find this kind of cool. Our brain doesn't know the difference between a reorg and being chased by a lion, between worrying about layoffs and somebody stealing our food. It happens in milliseconds. Our brain goes into that reptile brain mode. Milliseconds, we have no control over it. And we go into fight, we get defensive. Anybody, do you guys remember the Will Smith Chris Rock slap?
Hmm.
I don't remember if it was the Oscars. That was somebody getting triggered. Immediate visceral reaction. We can go into flight, avoiding difficult conversations. Just forget it. I'm done. Or analysis paralysis. So when you think about it, everybody at work now is working in their lower brain. So basically, you're working in the jungle, right? You've got leaders who are in this state running around, do this, do that, do this, yelling, things that obviously you wouldn't do, but because everybody is in this anxious state because of the market, because of layoffs, because of concern for their jobs, everybody is triggered. And if you think about it, it's hard to do good work if your brain thinks you're being chased by a lion. It's hard to think productively. It's hard to even think when this happens. Because again, when your brain is in threat mode, it cuts off access to the human part of your brain. Anybody ever present to a senior bunch of senior leaders and they start to grill you with questions like you're in the FBI office and you go, "Ugh," suddenly you can't even think of what the heck to say? Come on. That's happened to me 100 times. I literally am like, I bring all this knowledge in and suddenly I cannot talk. It's because you're frozen. You're in fight or flight. So at a high level, gang, does this make sense? Everybody with me? Okay.
Yeah.
So Scarf, my favorite tool as Debashish knows, is really the fundamental tool to leadership and to navigating the chaos. Right? When Sarah got triggered because of her Monday morning, her brain got triggered, and there are basically 5 domains which cause people to get triggered. Our status, our importance to others. Do we feel small? Right? If you're worried about your job, you're going to try to puff yourself up. Anytime things are uncertain, which is the world we are living in right now, we get triggered. Autonomy, micromanagement. Holy smokes, when you get micromanaged, it is a massive trigger. You don't trust me. You don't think you know what I'm doing. Why am I even here? Relatedness. Are we part of the in-group? And fairness. So let's talk. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Throw in the chat, what does being triggered for you look like? So for me, I get small. Like I stop talking and I could feel myself shrink. When you get triggered, what does that look like? And it's really important because to manage it, you have to recognize it. Your stomach, yeah. It could be analysis paralysis. It could be perfectionism. It could be break out into a sweat. Yeah, something crawling behind my back. I get small, then you want to run away out of spite. You get angry. Disgust. Yeah, you hear that? That's a powerful word. That's a visceral word. So what is your biggest trigger? And I'm going to go through them again. Status. Like I get very triggered when somebody gives me a condescending tone. That's a big trigger for me. Certainty. Anytime things are uncertain, what's going to happen? Autonomy. Being micromanaged. Relationships or fairness? What is your biggest trigger that really kind of sets you off? Yeah. So you think about AI and the status of work. All of these triggers are happening. And I want you folks to be rock stars in spite of them. So we have to navigate and manage them. Okay. So first thing you need to do is know first, there is nothing wrong with you. Hang on. There is nothing wrong with you. Okay? It is a biological reaction you are having. Okay? Everybody has it. We don't talk about it, but everybody has it. And you need to get out of trigger. You need to get yourself out of trigger. So the good news is you can't talk yourself out of it, You just need to change your biology. All this hippy dippy stuff that I thought was hippy dippy is actually not. You need to tell your brain, I'm good. I'm not being chased by a lion. It's just my asshole boss. So you need to take a deep breath. You need to physically reset. I used this in a meeting. I would stand up and say, oh, my back hurts. Like physically moving your body. You need to do something with your senses. So what do I mean by this? Have a sip of freezing cold water. Have a sip of hot coffee. Hold a pen. You need to activate your senses because you've got to tell your brain, I'm good. I'm just dealing with a question from a bunch of senior leaders that I've got to answer. Okay, so that is step number one. You have to tell your brain, I'm good. Because again, when you're in reptile mode, you cannot think. Then you have to go into problem solving mode. Okay. So part of this, when leaders are grilling you, when somebody's being condescending, you need to first, once you get yourself out of trigger mode, you need to realize they're just, it's just a game. They're 99% they are also triggered. It's got nothing to do with you. And what you need to do then is go into problem solving mode. Okay. And I teach this all the time in my leadership. Leadership is not about you, it's about the other person. What do they need both to get themselves calm and and figure out what we need to do to solve the problem? So status. When your roadmap changes, when you have 6 months of work down the drain, what what goes through your head? For me, I think, oh my gosh, my project's just been canceled. I'm going to get fired. I don't know what I'm doing. So what does this look like? What is your threat response when you're 6 months of weekend work, 60-hour weeks, and it doesn't matter anymore? What goes through your head? How do you respond? Throw it in the chat, please. It's even better when leadership says, oh, we made the decision for you that the work you've done doesn't matter. Nobody? No responses? Come on, what does this look like? Exacerbation. Thank you. Others. Drowning. Anger. Ha, Doug, for the idiots. Exactly. Exactly. You built a whole business case, and now they're throwing all this away because of one important customer. Give me a break. Okay. I'm going to get fired. I shrink. I lose confidence. Defensive. So again, first thing you need to do is get out of trigger mode. Take a breath. Okay. You're telling your brain, I'm good. Now you can make a decision on what you need to do. And that what you need to do could be pushback. It could be how do I apply what we've done to what's coming? How do we reuse the work we've done? But you're not just now defending your territory, you're solving the business problem. We spent 6 months on something. Is any of it reusable? You're now in problem solving mode versus spinning mode. Okay. And leadership is about being, I like to call it the calm in the chaos. Okay, this decision was made. What are our options? You can't say that when you're angry. All right, let's do certainty. Fourth reorg. I get a lot of clients who call me and say, Lynn, I'm on my fifth manager this year. You've got a VP who has different priorities than the last one, and you can't predict anything. What does being triggered look like? For me, I start to overwork and go into perfectionism. I have to make myself look really good or else. When you're in a reorg, what is your threat or triggered response? Do you check out? Whatever. Tell me what I need to do. Tired of reproving yourself. Exactly. You lose motivation. This one is heavy into I'm just done. Whatever, I'm done. And for you folks who are leaders, this is actually really important for those of you in leadership to understand of what is happening with your teams. So they are getting triggered because of all this. So please do not expect them to show up with their A game when they're triggered. End of story. Okay, so a lot of times when things are uncertain, I'm just going to check out. Just fine. What's interesting is many times a response to something being uncertain is we go into micromanagement. So suddenly we want a status from our engineering group every 10 minutes. And this, I mean, this impacts the quality of our life, right? It impacts the quality of our life. So again, recognize, all right, I'm triggered. Deep breath, stand up. This is my routine. Deep breath, stand up. I'll pace a little bit. I'll have a sip of cold water. All right, I'm okay. How the heck am I going to respond to this? What do I need to do? Yes, this is a pretty awful situation. All right, I'm now in problem solving mode. Everybody else is spinning. Your engineering groups are spinning, your colleagues are spinning. Now you're like, all right, what do we need to do? Now you're leading. Now you're leading. Yes, and Doug, the team aspect concerns me. We're not going to go through it here, but the fun or the nuance with this is we're spinning, our leaders are spinning, our engineering teams are spinning, and we have a major deliverable that has to happen. And we have to navigate ourselves and the people around us. Okay, autonomy. Engineering told you your 3-month project is going to take 9 months. Your autonomy is just gone. I can't control anything. I have no say. Leaders just making decisions. My engineers aren't giving me good estimates. Why the heck am I even here? Again, calm yourself down. Get yourself out of trigger mode. Go into problem solving mode. And if you think about work, when you think about your work environment, my guess is you can probably recognize in yourself or in somebody you work with today who was probably triggered. And it's just our biology. There's no judgment. It's just our brain trying to protect us. Okay? There's nothing wrong. It's just our brain. So we just have to navigate it and manage it. Okay. All right. So let me go to, okay, I'm going to give you an example, and then I'm going to put you in breakout rooms for a little role play. So remember our friend Sarah, who's triggered. They're killing her product line to focus on AI. What do you think, Sarah? She's got 5 minutes. Normal response is, but I've made so much progress. This doesn't make sense. Our net promoter scores are up. Can we at least pilot it? We've done all this work. It's defensive. It focuses on the past. It's emotionally charged. And this is a normal threat reaction that we go into. Versus, I feel my biology. I feel myself getting angry. Deep breath, stand up, pace, cold water. Okay, I get it. I understand this decision. I need to ensure we capture the learnings. Could we talk about this and how to make it a smooth transition? Ah, now Sarah's leading instead of reacting. She's leading. Okay, we're going to put you in breakout rooms. So what I want you to take 2 minutes and write down a current stressful situation that you're dealing with at work. I, I want you to, as a group, to then, what is the part of SCARF which is triggered? Status, certainty, autonomy, fairness, and relationships. And just practice a strategic response. And there are lots of examples, right? Scope creep, half the group being let go. If you're looking for a job, waiting for that interview response of did I get the job or not? Sitting on your phone every 2 seconds, did an email come in? Okay, is everybody up for some breakout rooms? How was that, gang? What are so let's leave it on full screen. What are some takeaways that we're working in the jungle?
I think we
And
still have a few people coming back.
oh, we still have people coming back.
One is
Okay.
it's way easier to solve someone else's problem than your own.
Absolutely. And I was talking to Ollie, and ultimately, when you're working in an environment that is toxic, you can use, I've given you just a tiny bit of the tools to help you navigate it. But the thing is, you want to make decisions such as, do I stay? Do I leave? Do I stay and kind of check out? All of which could be valid decisions, but you want to make those decisions from your up here, your smart part of your brain, not the reptile, right? You don't want to rage quit.
Hmm.
And you want to control the controllables. You can't control how they're behaving, but this is where self-care comes in, and just breathing and saying, this is his issue or her issue, not mine. What are some other takeaways, gang, from the breakout rooms? What's a nugget of learning that did you feel a sense of community that you're not the only one?
I think you do see how common how common these problems are and these challenges.
100%. 100%. Anybody here job hunting? So this also happens with a job hunt, right? You go into an interview. The interviewer perhaps is distracted, and suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, he must think I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I say? I can't remember the answer. So you get triggered in the middle of the interview. Always have that cold glass of water. Okay, and this was a really complicated framework. I've gone to like week-long seminars on this thing. At a high level, everybody kind of sort of get it? Okay.
Lynn, I have
Yes.
a question actually. I mean, I think with our group, we had great examples, and we were all able to kind of pinpoint where we see ourselves in the framework. I didn't share this with my group, but what is striking me now is usually I'm really good in the moment, right? Like I've just been practiced this, right? I know this. I know it's how my brain works. But that usually has a long-term impact on
Absolutely.
my well-being, I guess, or just like in my brain. So what are your thoughts or tips, or maybe you're going to get into it a little bit more later. But anything to say about that?
So great question. But yeah, let's talk about it. So what you're describing is you're still triggered, but you're white knuckling it through it. So your brain is still in a running state. And first thing to recognize, and for me, this was the biggest aha with this, is when if you don't purposely, your biology is in adrenaline mode all day. Literally, if you think about it, if you were running away from a lion, that's exhausting. You come home at night, and what do? You collapse on the couch. You get angry at your kids. So self-care, so recognize I am triggered.
Hmm.
So this is where exercise comes in. This is where literally things like breathing. I don't know if you were on the call, Debashish, when I had all my clients, I said, you have to go outside for 10 minutes a day,
Hmm.
nothing.
Yeah.
It took me 45 minutes to explain what doing nothing meant. No music, no talking, nothing to help the brain settle
And
down. Literally,
yeah, I was Lynn, and there were a surprising number of people who couldn't grasp the concept of not of doing nothing. Like, can I listen to my to music on my phone? No, that's not nothing.
it's really funny. But what that's do is you're giving your brain a break to breathe, to settle down, right? If you think about somebody who's running and you say, are you okay? I mean, well, you're tripping and falling, just stop. Breathe, let your brain rest. Okay? So you've got movement, obviously sleep, but the biggest thing is just to let your brain rest, to acknowledge I am triggered. This guy really frustrated the hell out of me today. I'm triggered. What is in my control? What actually is the only thing in your control? Jen, what is the only thing you can control?
My response.
My response. And then you say to yourself, what am I going to choose right now?
Hmm.
And just that act of saying, what am I going to choose, quiets the brain down. That one simple question gets your brain into prefrontal and outer reptile.
Nice. Thank you.
Okay, Teresa.
Yes. What are your suggestions for when somebody else is triggered and saying something like, okay, take a breath or, step back, come, none of that's going to work. It's
No,
only going
none
to
of
make
that's
it
going to work.
worse. Yeah.
So a couple things. I love this. I love this framework. So in a nice, calm voice, I want you to use a couple of power questions. Again, the questions are triggering the brain because you can't answer a question without activating your prefrontal cortex. Tell me more. In a nice, calm, walk me through why you disagree. Hmm, it seems that we're working from different assumptions. Let's go through the basics, make sure we're in agreement. My
And if they're
favorite,
so out of control that they're just ranting
take a
and
break.
ranting and ranting, do you just step back and let them rant until finally they run out of steam?
So the next thing to do is you then go to a whiteboard. I don't know the psychology behind this, but you bring up a Google Doc if you're remote or a whiteboard and you say, all right, and you start writing. All right, so here are the facts. Here's what we know. And they're whining and complaining. Okay, so is that a fact or is that a complaint? Can we control that? Oh, leadership stinks. All right, can we control that? No. Okay, so what can we control? So by putting the attention towards a document and asking these basic questions, and honestly, if they can't get out of trigger, let's say, listen, let's pause. I feel like we're spinning here and come back to it tomorrow. Because you don't want to waste your time with them spinning for an hour. To see what you can do to get them out of it. Calm questions, use a whiteboard, take a break, and we'll come back tomorrow. But remember, when a person is in whining and complaining mode, they're going to continue to spin and they're not going to be productive because they're back here in animal brain. So is that another good one? Is that a fact or is that an assumption we're making? Yes, I know this is the 10th reorg we've had, but what are our options? I mean, it is what it is. Can we control it? No. Okay, so what can we control? But the key for me, I'm Italian. Well, I would try to use these questions when I was triggered. They wouldn't come out very nice. Tell me more. What the hell are you talking about? No, so first you got to get yourself calm. Other questions on this framework. And again, once you understand it, you're going to go into work and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's a jungle here. Managers asking you to work till 11 p.m. They know that that's not productive, but they're in a triggered state too because their boss is micromanaging them. And they're worried about losing their job. So the thing is just to make decisions from a place of humanness versus the reptile. So if it's 11 p.m., you can say, listen, I'm going to bed. Even if I gave you an answer, it probably wouldn't be a good answer because it's 11 p.m. I'll see you tomorrow. Versus responding and then ruminating about it all night. Right? We only have so much. This is the amount of energy and brain power we have every day. That's it. We don't get more of it. Whether you work 6 hours or 16 hours, this is it. So you're working on steam at 11 p.m. But it's hard to push back and to say no when you are triggered. So you're in the fire, you're in the chaos. Scarf, and for anybody who's interested in more detail, I've got lots of good content on this, is you need to be able to walk through the fire, seeing what's going on and saying, it is what it is. I'm good. I'm safe. The best way for me to show up as a rock star is to be calm and be operating from a point of power versus animal brain. And just recognizing that is a massive step in helping you navigate it. I'm a stage 3 cancer survivor, 12% chance of being here. And I am convinced a lot of that cancer happened because I spent so many years triggered. Right? I mean, this stuff impacts your body at a cellular level when you're operate like this all day, day after day, year after year. So it's that's why I love this framework. It's a big deal. I want you to be happy at work, and I don't want anybody to have to face, chemo and all that awful stuff. And the reality is, I wish things would calm down, but they won't. So we've got to navigate it. But once you understand it, I'm going to say work becomes a little bit like a chess game. Because you see a senior leader and you see two senior leaders going toe to toe with each other like two elks. And you can just stand back. Okay, they're choosing that. I'm going to choose to get my job done. The other, and like I said, I think I've gotten through about 10% of my content for tonight, is, and this is nothing to do with scarf, it's a concept called mirroring. Has anybody ever heard of mirroring? What mirroring is?
Mhm.
Which is basically you match the energy of the person you're talking to. So if somebody's talking like this, I don't know what you're doing, da, 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 you need to speed up your voice and, basically match their voice tone. Now, the reason is there's something called affinity bias, which is basically people like people who are like them. People like working with people who are like them. So my normal mode of operation is I'm highly emotional. I'm intense, emotional, passionate. I purposely have to settle it down because I know most people aren't like that. If you're talking to somebody who's I know when I come across as passionate and I'm talking to somebody who's very calm and technical and introspective, and if I start talking with all my passion, I can see them go like that. You're too much for me. So I calm it down. All right, let me walk you through the detail. Versus, hey, have you seen this amazing new feature we're working on? So mirroring, even just watching their body language and their voice tone. And again, I call product the human game. To me, strategy, AI, yes, it's hard, but the hardest part is navigating the humans around it, right? Influencing people, getting people to buy into your ideas. Yes, you can use prioritization frameworks, but ultimately people make decisions based on emotion and stories. So every day you've got your content, you've got your detail, your technical knowledge, but don't forget about the human because your effectiveness depends on your ability to navigate these human things. Okay. Let me just throw up here. I would see how many I got through like a third of my slides. So every crisis is just an opportunity to demonstrate who you are. And we need leaders like you folks. We need leaders who are human, who care, who understand triggers. We need you to be in leadership gang. We need leaders who understand scarf because when everybody's triggered, work doesn't happen very well. I'd love to connect. Here's my LinkedIn, my website. I do a lot of free training. Next week, I'm doing a free training on those who are done with corporate and want to do their own thing. And I do training on leadership. So I'd love to just connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk. Okay. Other questions? Everybody okay? That was pretty deep content.
Stunned silence.
Are you guys stunned or are you triggered?
Feel
I
free to.
think they're mirroring each other.
Look at you guys. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, so I'll hang on for another couple minutes, Debashish, as you guys close it out for Q&A.
Yeah, one book that your earlier comment reminded me of. And I put it into the chat window. There's a book called on stress it's now in its third version called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers, by Robert Sapolsky. And if you've ever kind of struggled with stress. It is an enlightening deep dive into what stress does to your systems. And, wild animals don't get ulcers because they sort of run from the lions, and then when the lions are no longer visible, they stop running and go back to normal immediately.
Isn't that fascinating? They're able to get themselves at a trigger.
Yeah, and we stay in stress mode for weeks and weeks and months, if not years sometimes.
Correct. Correct. It impacts our families, it impacts our ability to work well, and it impacts the quality of our life. So this is
Yeah, everything. And I feel like product managers are uniquely targeted in some ways for stress, in that we may be at a company where we're the only product manager, or we're one of only two or three, and yet there's thousands of engineers and thousands of salespeople and thousands of marketing folks and finance folks who all come at us from different directions. And it's through organizations like SVPMA and Boston Product Management that you actually get to share your experience as a product manager with other product managers, and that is a great way to kind of establish reality of it's not me. Um, it's it's the nature of organizations, and you're at a critical junction point between things, and between all these opposing forces. So I encourage people to reach out, and definitely reach out to, if you're in the East Coast area, if you're in the Boston area, especially, there's Boston Product Management. And if you're in the San Francisco Bay Area, or virtual, we're certainly always available for you as well at SVPMA.
And give yourself some grace, gang. Give yourself some grace. This is hard. This is hard. We're in the middle of everything. When things go well, engineers get the credit, marketing. When things don't go well, it typically comes down on us.
Because it's never the fault of the other departments.
No, it's always product did something wrong. We didn't get the understand the customer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So my motto for product management is blame for everything, credit for nothing.
Yep.
At one point, I threatened, and this was when I was running a large IT department. I threatened to print a series of business cards with "scapegoat" as the title, and hand them out whenever anyone started throwing blame around instead of fixing problems. So, yeah, we've all been there. But with that, I'd like to thank Lynne for her wisdom, and sharing her wisdom, and being
Of course.
so generous with your time,
Of
especially
course.
you're on the East Coast. And again, feel free to reach out to her.
If you need
She's
anything.
put her things up there. She's a very approachable, friendly, and helpful person, and definitely has more to say.
Thank you, folks. I'm gonna head to sleep.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you,
Lynn.
Lynn.
You get to sleep East Coast time zone.